everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jessica if you are. This is my Pan Those Eyeshadows update for the month of September, and I have a lot of exciting pans to share with you this month. Very excited for this update. If you're new here, just finding me, I love making panning content. It's a great way to motivate me to use my makeup collection that I already have, and it helps me to not buy things that I don't need, spend money that I don't need to spend when I have so many things in my collection that I already love and enjoy, and this is just a great way for me to remember to reach for those things, and it also pushes my creativity to create eyeshadow looks that I wouldn't otherwise create necessarily. So welcome. I'm glad you found me. If you're new, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to have you around. And if you're returning, hello, good to see you again. I am very excited to share these pans with you. Let's get right on into this video and talk about these eyeshadows. Pan Those Eyeshadows is an eyeshadow panning project where we are trying to hit pan on our eyeshadow collection, and everyone kind of does it their own special way. For my rules, ultimately, of course, I'm trying to hit pan on these eyeshadows like the name entails. However, if I have them in my project for at least 3 months and I use them at least 30 times, I have to meet both those criteria. And if I still have not hit pan, then I do allow myself to roll out and bring in a new shade to replace that item. But most of the time, I'm able to hit pan before I meet those 2 criteria. But if I don't, I'm at least getting really good use on that shade. Currently, I'm working on 4 different eyeshadow shades. Let's start with the one that's been in this project the longest, and that is Lavender Sky from my Give Me Glow Pastel Dreams palette. This is the shadow that I have all over my eyelids today. It's a really pretty lavender, but it kind of pulls a little, like, I don't know, almost gold on the eyelid. It's not like a super punchy lavender. If you pair it with more lavender shades, I guess it pulls more lavender, but it's just not quite the true lavender that I wish it was. Almost like a peachy shift to it. Here it is in the swatch, and you can really see that peachy gold shift in the swatch from there. But it is a beautiful shade, and I have really enjoyed reaching for it. This is one of the shades that I brought in using Lainey's prompts. It was for a shadow that starts with the letter L, so I decided to go for this shade, Lavender Sky. Here's what it was looking like when I first brought it into the project. It was pretty untouched at this point. I reached for it 4 times during the first month, and here's what it was looking like then. Then I reached for it 4 additional times, making for 8 uses total. Here's what it was looking like last month. And during the past month, I reached for it 7 additional times, making for 15 uses total. And here's what Lavender Sky is looking like today. And as you can see, we do now have a teeny tiny little pan going on this shade. I actually hit pan on this shade just today, creating this look. And I am so happy because I wasn't quite sure I was going to get there. But I made a point to make sure I reach for this as much as possible during the past few days to really push for that pan. And that helped me to get to this pan that we are seeing today. I'm very happy to say that this shade is now rolling out, and I now have 2 different pans on this palette, and I absolutely love this palette so much. It has so many gorgeous shades in it. I love a pastel palette. It's just such a good supplementary palette to have in any collection, and I find myself reaching for this a lot for inner corner shades or just those bright punches of color that you want every so often. So I really enjoyed this shade. I'm very happy that it came into this project, and I'm also happy to be saying goodbye because it has been with us for 3 months, and I'm ready to move on to something new, but not before adding another pan to that pan percentage. So that is our first one, our first success of the month. It is rolling out. This next shade is another purple shimmer. This one comes from my Viseart Theory palette in the shade Amethyst. This is a monochrome palette, and it came from Lainey's prompt, which was a monochrome palette. So I decided to pick a purple monochrome palette to fit with the other purples in my projects. I decided to reach for shade number 6, which is this beautiful purple shimmer shade, and I have absolutely loved reaching for this. I've had a lot of fun reaching for those purples. I absolutely love wearing purple eyeshadow, and it was a little bit of a struggle for this one, but I enjoyed the journey. So here's what this shade was looking like when I first brought it into the project. I reached for it 4 times during the first month, and here's what it was looking like then. I then was able to reach for it 3 additional times, making for 7 uses, and here's what it was looking like after 7 uses. And I reached for it 5 additional times in the past month, making for 12 uses total, and here's what the shade is looking like today. And as you can see, on that 12th use, I was able to hit pan on this shade. This one I thought would take me a little bit more than 12 uses, but I was happy to get that pan a little bit early just because it is such a bright shade, not the easiest everyday shade, but I'm very happy to have another second pan on this palette. I really do love this palette. I love purples, and this is just a great little go-to palette if I want to do a purple look. So really happy to have a new pan on that one. And that is a second shade that we have pan on this month. Very, very excited about that one. And this one will also be rolling out after 3 months. This next shade is a randomly generated shade. I've been mixing up my shades by using Laney's prompts to kind of help me select my 2 shades, and then also randomly selecting 2 shades to kind of keep that random element into this project, which is always just a little bit of fun and exciting. So this one comes from my ABH the Sultry palette, and I randomly selected the shade Bloom. Here's what Bloom looks like in the swatch. It's a really bright corally bubblegum pink shade, but it can be toned down and worn more of a neutral, especially when you pair it with other neutrals in the crease or a neutral on the lid. So here's what Bloom was looking like when I first brought it into the project. It was pretty much untouched. This is a very pigmented shade, so a little bit really goes a long way. I reached for it 7 times during the first month, and here is what it was looking like last month. And in the past month, I reached for it 9 additional times, making for 16 uses total. And here's what Bloom is looking like today. And I promise you, I have in fact used this 16 times, but you wouldn't really know it by looking at it. You can hardly tell any difference in that pan, not even a dip starting to form. There might be a slight little disturbance in the center, but not much progress to show after 16 uses. My goal for this one is to use it 14 more times in the next month and get to those 30 uses, but I have no hope of hitting pan on this shade, but I think I should be able to make that final push and get those 14 uses in this next month if I just really remember to reach for it on a regular basis. I think I should be able to get there. So that is Bloom. It's a long haul shade, but I expected that, and we have 1 more month to go on it, and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to hit that 30 use goal within this last month. But for now, that one is staying in. And this last shade comes from my ABH the Soft Glam palette. And I don't know what happened to this palette. It got some kind of green eyeshadow on it, a culprit that is crumbling from another palette that I'm working on. I'll have to clean that off, but it's been out of my vanity getting some good use, and that use can be seen not only in the outside, but also on the inside. So I've been working on this little pink sparkly shade here, Rose Pink, and it's a really pretty shade. I've quite enjoyed reaching for it over the past several months, and let me show you what I've been able to do with it. So here's what it was looking like when I first brought it into this project. I was able to reach for it 6 times during the first month, and here's what it was looking like then. And then in this past month, I reached for it 1 additional time, making for 7 uses total, and here's Rose Pink today. And as you can see, I now have a nice pan on Rose Pink. I'm pretty shocked that it just took me 7 uses to hit that pan. I believe this shade already had some good use on it before it came into this project, so I had a little bit of a head start on it, and I'm happy that it was kind of an easy peasy shade for me to hit pan on and move out pretty quickly, because that doesn't always happen for me in this project. So that one also is rolling out. This is another randomly generated shade, so that means I'll be bringing in 2 new randomly generated shades and 1 shade that I will bring in using Laney's prompts. So those are my 4 shades. We have 1, 2, 3 rolling out. 3 out of 4 is great, and Bloom is staying in for just 1 more month, hopefully. I'm really gonna push to get that goal and have it out by next month. I love to share some of the eyeshadow looks that I create using these shades each month, so let's go ahead and talk about a few of those. I only took a few pictures this month, mostly because I'm just wearing very like daytime work appropriate looks, so they're not always picture worthy, but the ones that I am excited about, I always try and take pictures of to share with all of you. So here is an example of me wearing some purple shades. I believe this has Lavender Sky all over the lid, mixed in with maybe Bloom in the crease, and then I have like a little pop of green on the lower lid. Kind of a more bold color choice for a work day, but I think I got away with it okay. I'm kind of a little more bold with my choices sometimes at work. I don't really mind drawing a little attention to myself. God, that's just me, but I thought it was okay. This is picture taken at the end of the workday, so it doesn't look great, but it's just an example of how I wore Lavender Sky. This next look is one of my favorite looks that I created this month. I wore this in one of my videos, and I got so many comments on this look, so thank you everybody for giving me some love on this one. Another example of mixing purple all over the lid. I have Amethyst and Lavender Sky on my lid in this look, as well as some purples in the crease, and then again I went in with that pop of green on the inner corner and lower lash line, and I loved how this look turned out. I felt very, very pretty in it. I just thought it was gorgeous, and I plan on recreating this look if I think of it. I just think it came out really, really nicely. And another purple look to share with you. This one is just a pure purple look. This one also has Lavender Sky all over the lid, as well as the shade from the Amethyst palette on the outer part of the lid, and then all purples throughout the crease and purples on my lower lash line as well. So those were all of my looks. Nothing too exciting, but there they are for you. I'll try and be better at taking photos in the future. You guys know I'm always just doing my best. So let's get into my favorite part of this video, or one of my favorite parts, is talking about my pan percentage. I'm panning lots of different eyeshadows in lots of different projects, but this video is where I update you on my pan percentage. So in my makeup collection, I have 435 individual shades of eyeshadow. As of last month, I had pan on 84 of them, bringing my pan percentage to 19.31%. My overall goal for this year is to get to like 22%. I don't really know exactly what my goal is. Honestly, it kind of changes every month. But my initial goal was to hit 20%, and I knew that I was going to hit that goal pretty easily. So I had to kind of create a new goal, and my new goal now is 22%. If I can get higher than that, that would be great too. But for now, I would be really happy with that. So this month, I was actually able to hit 5 new pans. 3 of those pans are in this project here with Rose Pink, Lavender Sky, and that shade from the Amethyst palette. And I also hit 2 additional pans in my other project. I hit pan on Thrill from the Natasha Denona My Dream palette in my Deca panning project. And I also hit a pan in Lover from my Pan That palette. So that means I hit 5 new pans this month, bringing my new number of pans up to 89 out of my 435 eyeshadows. So my pan percentage jumped from 19.31% up to 20.46%. So I have officially hit that 20% goal, and now it's just all kind of gravy on top. I'm going to try and hit that new goal of 22%. I think I should be able to do that. That's about, I think, like 6 or 7 more pans by the end of the year. And I'm pretty confident that if I just kind of stick with my goals and am consistent, I should be able to get to that goal pretty easily, if not exceed that goal. So always love seeing my numbers increase, as well as seeing my palettes get nice and used. It's just very satisfying to me, and it lets me know that I'm getting my money's worth on these products that I spent good money on so long ago. So now comes the exciting part. It's time to draw in 3 new eyeshadow shades into this project. I don't think I've had a renewal this large during this project throughout the entire year, so I'm excited to bring in so many new shades and really kind of jumpstart this color palette. And I'm going to be using Lainey's prompts to bring in 1 and then randomly selecting the other 2 using my Tiny Decisions app. So here is the wheel with all of Lainey's prompts. I have the prompts that I've already drawn this year blacked out. So let's bring in some new prompts, or just 1 new prompt for me to choose from. So here we go, little live selection. Let's spin that wheel and see what the prompt comes up for us. Shadow from palette with the most pans. Ooh, that's exciting. I'm not sure what palette that is. Let me go find that out. Officially, my palette that has the most pans in it currently is my current Pan That palette. So I'm obviously not going to pick a shade from this because my goal this year is to hit pan on all these shades. So I'm going to have a pan on that one eventually outside of this project. So I decided to go into my collection and see what else had a lot of pans on it. And I have a little tie here. So we've got my BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette, which has 6 pans in it currently, as well as my ABH Jackie Aina palette, also tied for 6 pans. So I went back and forth between these 2. I'm not quite sure what I want to do, but I'm going to make a little last minute decision here and go with my ABH Jackie Aina palette. I've already been panning 2 other palettes from ABH, so might as well let this little girl join the party. This palette was in my Project Level Up last year, and that I think brought me to 3 new pans on this palette, I want to say. So we now have pan in 6 out of the 14 shades. So there are 8 shadows in here eligible to be rolled in. And I think some of them are going to be kind of tricky, but I'm just kind of going to go with it. I'm going to go with the challenge and put in a random number generator from 1 through 8 and just kind of let it be a little random as to what shade comes in here. So eligible to be rolled in is this hot pink. I'm really hoping that doesn't come in. We've got this brown shade. Lituation would be beautiful to work on. And then the red would be kind of tricky. I wouldn't love the purple coming in just because I just rolled out the purple, but either of these mattes would be really fun to work on as well, even though they're kind of similar to shades from my Pan That palette, but whatever. At this point, I'm okay with it. So I have the numbers 1 through 8 in this random number generator, and let's see what we get. I'm a little nervous. Hopefully the gods are good to me. Let's see. Number 2. Okay, great. So that shade is actually this dark brown shade. So I'm skipping over. This is shade 1 and shade 2. You know what? That's fine. It's kind of an easy shade. I love wearing a brown. I am panning a dark brown in my Pan That palette, but it's not quite this deep. And I already have a pan in it. So I'm okay with reaching for this one instead, and it'll be easy to get 30 uses on it. Here it is in the swatch. It's a beautiful, deep, dark chocolate brown. It is called Credit. And I don't know if I'll be able to hit pan on this one, but I definitely will be able to get those 30 uses by the end of the year. And if I do hit a pan on it, great. Just a little bonus sprinkle on top for the joy of panning and using this eyeshadow palette, which I really do love. And it'll be great to have out. I think this is a great fall palette, and I'm excited to have it out on my vanity yet again. One of my favorites from ABH. Now let's generate 2 more eyeshadow palettes to work on. I have a few palettes blacked out on this wheel, including the ABH Jackie Aina, which I just brought in, as well as the Sultry, which is currently in this project, and the Elf Jalapeno, which is in my Project Level Up, which I've kind of forgotten about, but I'm still working on that unofficially. in another project. So everything else is fair game. Let's see which palette wants to come in first. We'll just go ahead and get both the palettes out of the way here. Fun, the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette, which is a really fun kind of pastel palette. It only has one pan in it, so that will be fun to work on. And let's just grab the second palette as well and go from there. Fun, the Makeup Geek Manny MUA palette. That one has been neglected for quite some time, so I'm excited to reach for that one as well. So let me grab those two palettes and then we'll choose our shades. Here is the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. It has 16 shades in it. I only currently have pan on one of those shades. So that means I have 15 eligible shades to come into this project. Okay, I've got the numbers 1 through 15, and let's see which number wants to come in. Pastel is not the best for fall, but what are you gonna do? Okay, number 11. Let's see what that is. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Starstruck, a really bright gold shade. All right, that one can work for fall. I would say of these pastel shades, this is probably the most fall friendly, or one of the more fall friendly shades. There it is in the swatch. It's a very yellowy gold, very bright. It's gonna be kind of tricky to reach for on a daily basis, but I think I should be able to find ways to sheer it out, make it a little less bright on my eye for day-to-day wear, and it'll be a little bit of a challenge, but that's what I like about this project, is that it kind of pushes me a little bit more. I love a challenge. It makes it more fun. And lastly, we have the Makeup Geek Manny MUA palette. This palette has 9 shades in it. I already have pan on 2 of them. Those 2 shades are Artemis and Cosmopolitan, and that means I have 7 eligible shades to come into this project. So there are the numbers 1 through 7, and let's see what we get. I'm hoping we don't get the Artemis. It's very similar to my avocado shade. Shade number 6. So skipping over the ones that already have pan, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we got Mars, that bright red matte. That one is also going to be a bit of a challenge, but I'm up for it. I feel like this palette so far, my color palette, is very fall toned, seeing all these shades together. I'm looking forward to these rich tones coming up in the months of October, November. There is Mars in the swatch. It really is like a true red matte. It doesn't pull pink like so many other reds do. And I definitely can make this work in a lot of neutral looks. I can use it to deepen my crease, to use as an eyeliner, and I'm excited to kind of play with that one. It's definitely a challenge shade. I don't know if I'll be able to hit pan on it. I haven't hit pan on any of the mattes in here yet, so it's kind of a new experience for me, but we'll see how we do. Very excited about that one. So here is the color palette that we are saying goodbye to, and this is the new palette we are saying hello to. Very, very different color palettes. I'm excited to see all of these colors together. I think it really does scream fall, perfect for this time of year, and we definitely have some challenging shades in there, which just makes this project always so much fun. So that is all for my Pan Those Eyeshadows update. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm excited to work on these new shades. Let me know what you think about them. If you have any recommendations for looks I could create using these shades, please leave them in the comments. I love hearing your suggestions. I've gotten some of my favorite makeup looks from your inspiration, so thank you so much for sharing that with me. I just want to thank you all so much for being here today and watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, don't forget to give it a quick thumbs up before you leave. Maybe leave a little fall-inspired emoji in the comments if you are excited for fall as much as I am, even though we are still in like high 80-degree weather here in the Bay Area of California. I'm not letting that get me down. I'm embracing the fall vibes as early as I possibly can. Getting really excited for Halloween. You guys know how much I love that holiday. And I just want all the cozy sweater weather vibes despite the non-sweater weather. Fake it till you make it, right? So that's all. I hope you are doing well wherever you are in the world that this video finds you. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. But until then, take care. Bye.